Welcome to Dear Alice, a lifestyle approach to interior design.
Hi guys, welcome to Dear Alice.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good. How are you guys?
Doing great.
Yeah?
Fantastic.
I know. So good. Welcome to the new year. We're midway through January.
Crazy.
I know.
Man, where did 2024 go? It's in the past. That's crazy.
I know. Rearview mirror.
Yep.
I know. My birthday's in January, so look forward to that, guys.
I love a Suzanne Hall
What's
birthday.
up?
Thank
Yay.
goodness you have a warm little spot of light in the winter in Utah.
It's the worst month to have a birthday, but that's okay.
Really?
It is. You're after Christmas. Everyone's like tired of spending money.
We should hot
And
tub
it's
or
cold.
something
We
fun.
should go hot tubbing.
We should put on bathing suits. Now that we're in our
Find
40s,
you a body of cold water.
we'll run through a snowbank and jump in the
We're
hot
gonna do a
tub.
cold plunge and then sauna it up.
I love
So
it.
wait.
Well,
Aw.
happy early birthday, Sue
Thanks,
Hall.
girl.
Yeah.
Not just timestamp us, but yeah, we're doing good.
We are doing good.
Today we're going to talk about 6 ways to add softness to a space. But before that, I just wanted to know what's one of your guys' favorite like up and coming trends or
What are we into? Maybe.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you into, Jess?
Guys, I'm in my sneaker era.
Okay.
She's a sneakerhead, guys. Fantastic.
I don't know.
I'm gonna design you a built-in for all your sneakers.
You know what? I've worn heels this whole business of, we're 17 years this year.
Mhm.
And I wore heels for probably a good 12 years, a good dozen years, maybe 13, maybe 14. And then I tried on sneakers for the first time in my life. Do you know what else I haven't been aware of? Sweats. I never owned any sweats.
Girl, welcome.
It's like I would go from 90 to 0. Like I go home and I put on my pajamas.
No, you
Or
put
my
on a
kimono.
robe.
I put on a silk robe and my slippers, but I didn't have any like in between clothes until the pandemic. And then I tried on these things that people wear and they're called sweats. And all of a sudden I'm like, guys, there's a more comfortable way out there.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't wear sweats to work. Don't be picturing that out there if you're listening. But yeah, I've gotten into wearing flat shoes. I love a ballet flat. I love a tennis shoe.
Okay.
This isn't that interesting. Sue,
No.
what are you into?
No.
No surprise to anybody, but just like vintage.
Yeah.
I'll just say that because it's forever and always. But I'll say like I've gotten some really like good vintage earrings as of late. So I'm in my earring
I've noticed
era.
those. Those are rad.
Aren't
Yeah.
those neat?
She is. You know what? I'm also doing earrings.
So pretty.
Do you know what I learned from when I went to Italy? We went vintage shopping in Italy. First of all, nothing is as fun as vintage shopping with Sue.
Likewise.
It
So much
lights
fun.
my fire. It was so much fun. But when I was in Italy, I saw the earrings actually I'm wearing right now. We're both wearing clip-on earrings. And I said to the lady, can I try those on? She's like, oh yeah. And she pulls them out. I'm like, oh shoot, they're clip-ons. Never mind. And she goes, you can still wear clip-ons even though you have pierced ears. Guys,
Did you never wear a clip-on?
Broke your brain probably.
Sister.
I don't know why. I was like, oh, those are for
Sister
those
Bennett.
people.
I
I have
actually have holes
I have
there.
pierced ears, so I need a pierced earring.
Someone
No.
made a post.
Guess what it means? If you have pierced ears, it means you can do both.
Mhm.
Yes,
Yeah.
you can.
Yep. Whole
Also,
new world.
Welcome to the fold.
also because big earrings are trending right now,
Yes, they are.
that it's an easier set of engineering for those delicate little earlobes to just have if it's a good quality clip-on, they don't hurt.
No.
But if you're making that big, huge earring just hang on one little post inside your earring, that hurts more.
It does.
So
It'll
a
just make
clip-
you real droopy.
I'm just saying there's a place for clips. So those of
are.
you that were that think like I do, the village idiot, you can wear clip-ons even if you have pierced
know.
earrings. And that opens up the entire repertoire of earrings.
Go vintage shopping, guys.
Yeah.
Grab
So
yourself some.
Sue Hall is in her vintage earring
Yeah.
phase right now.
Which, as a girl with a bob, an earring does a lot of work, y'all. Like
Uh-huh.
that's everything. Your jewelry is really your lip and your jewelry. You really
I just
gotta
want to say,
speak volumes.
Suze has found her trifecta. She's got her iconic haircut, which is the bob with bangs in platinum white. She's got a red lip and a really awesome vintage earring. Like, ooh, this Suze
so
is a
good.
sketch. Yeah, we should sketch this girl.
it.
And when you put on great sunnies, stop.
I know.
Just stop it.
I know. I took a lesson from the Anna Wintour when I was just like, oh, look
Yeah.
at her. Look at like her hair is just like iconic to her. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I got all my wiggles out. I did the asymmetrical.
Yeah.
You do all those weird things to your hair and then you find your thing
Mhm.
and then you ride it, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember when you put
Stay current.
Do you remember when you put blue in your hair
Sure
too?
did. I
Yeah.
did a lot of things. I did pink in my hair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at the No Doubt concert for sure I did.
I love it.
100%.
As you should.
Corey,
should.
tell
What are
us
you
what
into?
you're doing right now.
So I've had short hair for a long time, probably a decade. That's probably the longest I had short hair for, and I was going crazy. Have you guys seen like I don't know exactly what to call it. It's like kind of a mullet, but it's like party in the front, party in the back, and then it's like kind of like lit.
It's just you're tied on the side.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I can pull that off. It's not my thing, but that was very encouraging. That's been like, a year that's been happening. I'm like, that's adding length to men's hair, and that has just been feeling really good for me. That's why I've just been growing it out.
You have a
Like, I don't
cute
know what I'm
wave
gonna
to
do.
it. You have a cool body to your
Yeah.
hair. You should like have it grown out. Fun fact is when I first met Corey, he looked like lead singer of the Gym Blossoms, like long hair.
Yeah, to my
It was,
shoulders.
like crazy. It was like it was long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I was
then-
like, Sue, what did you bring in? What did the cat drag in, Sue? She's like, I think we should hire him. I think we should give him a job. I'm like, Sue, we can't hire everyone. Yeah, because Sue would bring in like all these great hires, people she knew from design school, and it was 2008, so people were losing their jobs. We're in the design industry, and finally, when she brought Corey in, I was like, Sue, not everyone can have a job here.
12 years later.
I'm like, I think he's got something. I think he's our people.
Yeah, he is our people, and now he's going back to long hair again.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a plan
roots.
for it. I don't know exactly what
Well,
I'm
stay
doing.
tuned,
but-
everybody,
No,
and
I'm
tune
lucky
in.
you're married to Mari, who
Tune
like
in.
is an actual kick-ass hairdresser, so she'll steer you right.
Yeah, she did tell me. She's like, you probably need to start figuring out what you're gonna. Yeah, so I'm like, I don't know.
Every girl knows
We'll
what
see.
you're going through as far as like the growing out stage. You're in
Yeah.
the growing out stage. You gotta like
Power through that.
You gotta go through some painful
Whatever it
mornings.
is, it'll
Yeah.
be good.
It'll be
'cause
great.
Corey's got good taste, and his wife is an amazing hairdresser. So just
Thank
stay
you.
tuned. One more reason to tune into YouTube.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, or maybe by
Follow the
now,
progression.
Spotify will have figured things out
Ooh,
for us,
yes,
and we'll have
yes.
video.
Please
Yep.
bless.
Yeah, so stay tuned for
I'm
that.
gonna tell
too.
them that. I'm gonna say, guys, there's people who are waiting to see what I'm doing with my hair. We need to
I
get this
know.
video up and going. Come on.
Yes, definitely.
Oh,
I
gosh.
love
Okay.
it. Well, we have a listener question today, which spawned today's episode. Sue, do you want to read for them the listener question?
Yes, I would love to. Okay, Tessa Russell wrote, when your house has a lot of angles and squares, can you give specific practical ideas for bringing in softness into all the spaces and areas in each room? So we are here to give her 6 ideas and ways to add softness to a space. We talk a lot about this. I think in almost every episode we talk about non-directional objects that can help soften a space because we live.
Let me just quickly say what a non-directional
Yes, yeah,
object
please.
is for
Yeah.
you kids in the back. I'm just kidding.
Got ahead of myself.
Yeah.
Continue.
Well, we always use this language, and I'm like, nobody knows what we're talking about. Non-directional means it's a circle, or it's an amoeba, or it's a soft shape.
Yeah.
It means it doesn't have an up or a down or a right or a left. Usually those front or back. Exactly. So those orb shapes, those circular shapes, those organic shapes is what is going to help soften the space, right?
Yep. And so we have 6 ways that we naturally like do this when we're doing design work. And I think this will help you as you're like navigating, adding softness in your space because most rooms are square. You're dealing with 90-degree angles on all sides, right? Most of your ceilings are 90 degrees. Most of you, as far as your cabinetry, you're dealing with all the squares,
Boxes.
all the boxes, all the 90-degree angles. So it's important to, as you're navigating a space, to make sure you're adding enough soft pieces to make it comfortable for your eye and for your actual living.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway,
Yeah.
so we're going to get into it.
To that point,
Yeah.
this is a tangent, so bear
Please.
with me. But
We have a podcast. We can stay here as long as you want.
yeah, so I mean, to that point of like cabinetry, it's I think why we like a knob.
Yeah.
In case I had somebody text me the other day, and they're like, "Hey, so which pulls should I do on my kitchen?" I was like, "Whoa, oh, you don't know." We don't do a pull in a kitchen because everything's a straight line and a pull is one more straight line.
Yeah.
So we do knobs for the most part. Lowers, uppers,
Mhm.
we love a soft shape
We do.
because we've got all these grids and, we need those non-directional shapes to
Yeah.
soften it, right?
Yeah.
To bring that in. So we're going to give you, like Sue said, our 6 best ideas, Tessa, to help you and all of us, because we're all living in square houses for the most part, to soften these shapes up. So the first thing that we have is rugs.
Yeah.
It's the first piece of art that you're going to put down in the room. If you really, all rugs are important, big rugs, obviously. You can do a solid color, but you could bring in a beautiful big piece of artwork, which is a pattern. And it's going to give you so many colors to play with. It's going to give you movement in the room. It's also going to soften the sound in your room. A lot of people have hard surfaces for flooring today, and sound bounces. Cozier, our musician, could probably go into great detail about this. Also, your windows are going to make sound bounce around.
Windows are the most reflective surface. I mean, even more than like tile or something like that. So
yeah. So as far as like if you have little kids running through the house and screaming, and it's just you want to soften the space in every way, not just visually, but also sound wise. You want to absorb sound. So
literally,
so your big rugs are going to also help do that, and they're going to make life more comfortable to live on top of.
And to what you're talking about, Jess, I think this is really important. When we talk about making a room feel larger, we're going to put things on a diagonal, because if you have everything just laying straight, like your wood flooring, say you walk in and it's laying straight, like my eye just like goes along with that line and then it goes up. But if you, with a rug, have an organic shape that can kind of sweep you around and through, your space grows. It's crazy. It does. It stretches your eye from corner to corner, wherever those lines. That's why we say go larger with your rugs, because that will soften your space.
You said organic shape. So now they're picturing a rug in the shape of an amoeba.
Okay, no.
Or a round rug.
You guys, we don't do round rugs. I've seen it very rarely, like, will a really elite designer do one? And I'm like, they actually figured it out.
That is the exception to the rule.
They cracked the code. It's not something that we're doing. We're not doing round rugs. And I think that's a general rule that we can say out loud here. Don't do a round rug. What I'm talking about is we are trying to get the largest rug in a space that we can. It used to be that the rule was like 6 inches away from the wall. Like imagine a 6-inch border. You're trying to go that big, okay? To just like really embody everything that's in that space that can sit on it. That will soften your room, just like visually, texturally, for your feet, for every part, every sense, right? But when I'm talking about an organic shape, I'm talking about the patterns in the rug. So if you're thinking of like a Persian rug or, even like a modern rug that has some like movement to it and some design that has like some sweeping motions, or a medallion or something that's going to add that non-directional softness to a space, that's what will add, I think, a lot of character, and it will grow your room. It'll make it a lot more interesting, and it'll just like, it'll soften it. So that's what I mean. It'll stretch your eye and it'll feel like art. So
yeah. Great. The next one we have down is drapery. Drapery is going to soften your space visually. Also sound. It's going to help absorb sound on those big walls. And that drapery, we're going to obviously do a rod that extends way beyond the window by
the height of the window. Well, and the width. Yes. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. We're going to go up as high as we can to the ceiling, and then also way beyond the window. And that drapery stack is going to live to the side of the windows. But you want enough fabric there that you could close it over the window. So you can imagine the yardage that you're buying, right, for these. A lot.
Yeah. And when they are closed, they won't be pulled tight.
Right. It'll still have folds in it, drapery folds.
Which is good for sound, because you want the unevenness in the...
sound baffling or...
just sound waves will hit it at different points and then reflect back. And so that's what softens it, like, as far as sound goes, is that it's there's dimension to that
the folding
the folding to the curtain when it's shut, pulled shut. So plenty of width in your panel.
And I was just gonna say that, like, windows, even like in like majority of my rooms, I'm still like, that is the last layer, because like houses are expensive, we get it. And like a lot of times the window treatments get delayed, because like everybody's a little house poor after they build a house, they move in, and they're just like, okay, that was how much are window treatments? And then, but I will tell you, it is the thing that makes it feel finished. If we can go into a photo shoot with the window treatments up, like, it's by far the better photo shoot versus not having it.
We will wait.
It's a better way to live.
Yep. Listen, designers out there, just wait. Don't shoot the house until the draperies get in, because it's like the mascara at the end of your eye makeup. It finishes the room and makes it look complete. Your rooms feel taller. They feel wider. They just feel finished and softer. Yeah. So that's one of those things that you can add to your space this year, and you will immediately see the impact. It's so beautiful. Even if it's shears, those sheer stacks are so chic. I love a sheer.
No, and there's such a mood. I can like think of like several like moments in time where I'm just like, I'm never going to forget this moment for the rest of my life. I have a soundtrack in my head going, the wind is blowing. It's like dusting those shears just so well. I'm just like, am I in a movie? I'm on a movie set because the window treatments were doing a dance. Yeah. And that's how your house can feel, guys. It's amazing.
It's, if you guys have ever heard the song Careless Whisper by George Michael, it's that for your room.
I know. Cue.
It's Careless
Cue music.
It's Careless Whisper for your room. Okay. That's drapery, plaster or paint.
Okay.
To add color and warmth. We've been in a, go ahead, Sue.
No, we're like definitely in a color movement right now. I think everybody had like the White House and like everything was a little bit more sterile, you know, and then pandemic happened and then we're like, why are we so sad? And we're like, we're adding color back into our lives and I'm here for it. I'm so happy. But adding, it sounds funny to say that just like painting, you know, a 90-degree box, a color will soften it, but it will. It will. And by taking that color, some tone from the wall up onto the ceiling, you're kind of diffusing those lines and you're just creating a blanket over yourself. So I'm a diehard believer in the color drench and in totally encompassing yourself in something to take you into an environment instead of into a 5-leaded box, you know?
Yeah.
Like it will, if you can just like totally surround yourself by the same finish, by the same color, that will soften your space completely.
As a principle, if you want extra credit points for this, you're going to go plaster because plaster is going to give you the color, but it's going to give you movement with it. Yep. It's going to give you a soft texture. And you can also do this with color, natural, organic colors. Yeah. And that movement going onto ceilings and around corners and everything is a spiritual experience. It is. It's really, really extraordinary to see plastered spaces.
Oh, and especially when the plaster rolls onto the ceiling. I once had a client where she's just like, no, that was too expensive. We're just doing the walls. And she just painted her ceiling with a regular paint. And I was just like, oh, we were so close. We were almost there. And like, I'm still sad about it to this day, you know, because when you do experience the plaster on the ceiling, your ceiling grows and the heavens open and it's just magic. Plaster is magic. So yeah, that will definitely add to your space.
Yes.
Okay.
Love that.
I love that.
Fifth principle is art. Art is going to soften your space because we're going to give you subject matter to stare at. It's going to give you a story. It's going to give you focus, color, movement. The way that you frame it is in an art itself. You can layer in art. You can, if it's a contemporary home, maybe it's 3-dimensional objects as art. But this is going to
rugs onto your walls because rugs are art.
Yes, definitely. I mean, I think for Sue, you moved into your home during the pandemic, painted the whole thing in a color drench of your favorite shade of white, and then hung your entire art gallery on all of these white walls. And if you were to say to me, what color walls does Sue have? I'm like, every color.
Yeah.
I would never tell you that she has a white house because her art collection is so dynamic. I can't actually think of what her wall colors are. You know, it's just a gallery for her life. And it does add so much softness and interest and color and movement and happiness and joy. And it's just something that it sounds funny to say art adds softness, but it does. It adds a human touch, a human element, right? It adds life.
Yeah. And I feel like for the majority of our clients who, you know, have like lived like lovely lives too, right? To this point when we started working with them, art is the hardest layer. It's the hardest layer because you have to really deep dive into like what you love. And art's hard. Like if you're just starting your art journey and you're just like, I don't like subjects, I don't like people, I don't like places, I don't like things. You're just like living in a cold box with abstract art, which is fine if that's you, but you're gonna have to do extra work on your framing or other things to make that pop because it's gonna go flat.
You're gonna have to work on your personality.
We're gonna have to change some things. You're gonna have to go to therapy and figure out how you can like people again. But I think there is like there's something that happens to a home when you can figure out what you love in your art. Like, I think honestly, I do think it's the most important layer. Like
it's the heartbeat.
It's the heartbeat of the house and it's the pulse and it tells me what you love, you know, whether it's photography like that as the graphicness, whether it's, you know, whether it is people or whether it is, you know, the places that you grew up or whatever that is, like it adds the softness and it says so much about you and you forget that you're in a white box when you have the art. And I would really like you should stretch yourself to figure out your art to go larger than you think you should on all your art. And then if it's the pieces that you have aren't large, then you're going to get really creative with your framing. And I would like really, if you were up for it, go more interesting on your framing than you have been. Because I think that adds a lot to not only the art piece, but to the whole composition of what will start to tell your story is the framing on the art. So that will add softness. And I can say on every piece of art that I have, the frames that are the most interesting, the whole wall becomes more interesting.
Yep.
It's not just the art, the whole thing, the composition, the pieces next to it. Everything looks better when you frame your art correctly and you like really do something that's opinionated and has a point of view with your art. That will add softness and add like a lot of dynamics to a space.
The frame can be as much of
it's art.
Yeah. It can be as much art as the piece of art it is itself.
And I think it should.
Yeah.
That's controversial because some people are like, oh, the frame just is taking away from the art. And I'm like, no, it should add to. They should bounce from each other.
Yep.
And I think it makes it much more exciting and special.
So true.
Yeah. The sixth point we have.
We skipped lighting actually.
I know
you picked it already. I was like, oh, we're here. Okay.
Guys,
I wanted to
so
save the 6 point for the last one.
Oh
but
yeah, thank you. Thank you. I'm bad at numbers.
It's okay.
Yeah, but good at lighting. Lighting, you guys. Lighting is going to really soften a space, especially when you get the right LED bulb.
Yeah. The right Kelvin.
The right Kelvin. Let's tell them our favorite Kelvin.
I'm a 2700 Kelvin.
Also
we'll
a 2700.
3000 is like the max, and that's in a kitchen if you must. But even
don't.
then, if you want to live a Nancy Meyers lifestyle, you're going to go to 2700, and that's like I think overall you're going to be soft white. You're not doing the daylight. You're not doing blue cold that your husband's going to grab at Lowe's because it had a higher number.
Because he wants to get the most bang for his buck. He's going to buy the highest Kelvin. And you're like, no.
We're going to light this SOB up.
No.
Yeah. No. Get curious about what your light bulbs are. I think that's a really good thing to add softness to your space. It's the lowest hanging fruit of all the things that we're telling you to do. Yeah. And just make sure and replace all your light bulbs in 2025 with 2700 Kelvin light bulbs.
I would say lean more towards lamp light too, and less like
great
less
point. Yes.
Overhead.
Yep.
That to me that creates visual
romance.
Visual I was gonna say visual softness. Romance too. Like
also you look more beautiful in lamplight. Your room looks more beautiful in lamplight.
You look amazing.
Yeah.
You're like, does anybody want to come over here and film anything in my house right now? Because it looks like
I always tell my wife,
beautiful.
like we have 6 and a 3-year-old, so it's like hard to.
It's chaos.
I could clean all day and it's still not going to be a clean house. I was like, let's turn off these overhead lights and pretend like our house is clean. You know what I mean? Put on a couple lamps. Like, I know. You don't notice it. You know?
Put on a really good song.
Yeah.
Right now.
I love it. That's great.
Also, in
takes
addition
the edge
to that,
off.
Dimmers. Like if you were building new, make sure that like all your decorative fixtures, honestly, I could have everything on dimmers. I think like it'll add to your whole atmosphere. I think sconces should be on dimmers. Overhead lighting should be on dimmers. And again, that allows you to control it and to be consistent with that, Kelvin. I like that you said like just overall from like lamps.
Oh gosh.
To, because my
mixed light is the worst. Yeah.
He like when we first got our house, like he's just like started like repairing and replacing things. And there's still that light by our side door that like it's a motion detector. And when it goes on, you're just like, I'm being attacked. Like you feel like you're being interrogated. Yeah. And like it's a different temperature than my other one. And so I'm like, Tom, we've got to change this out. Like it's really busting my groove. But yeah, like it'll make you look bad, guys. Just make it consistent, make it soft. Yeah. That will add softness.
If nothing else in 2025, that could be your New Year's resolution. It's just have all my light bulbs be the same temperature.
Wouldn't that be fun? And then I would say just like with lighting, when we're choosing lighting for homes and things, we're never really getting square fixtures.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Thank you for saying this.
Just like, we love an orb. Like we love like an actual circular.
That non-directional thing.
Non-directional. We love ones that feel like stretching art with like globes that are hand blown.
Susan's talking about the ceiling fixtures.
Yeah, so I'm talking about ceiling fixtures, chandeliers, things like in your office right now. Like we have like, just a bunch of these orbs that are stacked on top of each other. inside this box, and it adds everything. It's
Yeah.
so beautiful. I think
We
it's
are
from Air
not
Water.
using a square fixture. We're not doing a square lantern over an island. We are
Or a
never
square
using
lampshade.
a square lampshade or a square lampshade on a sconce.
Yeah.
We can't do that. We're trying to add softness to a space.
Yeah.
That's our job, is to make these things feel soft and warm and organic. And so I think gone are the days of the square fixtures. I mean, I think that Jeff Lewis era where he was doing all the square everything was like modern, you know,
Yeah.
but now it's just like, let's take the edge off of everything.
We want
Yeah.
to feel like, I don't know, turn ceramics, on our lamp bases, and there's like modeling to things, and it's a little like, life is hard enough. Like, soften it, guys.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Corey, for remembering
course.
Backing
lighting.
us up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, sorry. Number 6 we have down as plants.
Ugh.
Plants are going to they're going to take all the edge off as well. They're going to give you those real organic lines. They're going to help filter your air. You're going to put them by your window. The lighting is going to look so magical on them.
Yep.
Sue and I have a good friend that just finished an extraordinary build, 6 years probably in the making. And it is just like such a beautiful, beautiful piece of art. And she's asked us to come in and add final layers because she's like, ugh, we finished it all. She used some extraordinary designer out of California or something. And
Amazing architect that's like perfect with his axis and anyway, everything.
yeah, like this thing is award winning, but she's like, it just still doesn't feel like home. Can you guys come in and add the layers and soften things? And I said to Sue, first thing we're going to do is we're going to
Go to a nursery.
we're going to work with somebody that's
Yeah.
really great with plants, but let's start getting all of the best looking plants that work for her modern home, because it's like adding sculpture that's living
Mhm.
and getting some of those organic lines and movement and height and interest, and also bringing color in. And then once we've got the plants dialed in, then we're going to start adding in the other layers. But to my eye, the first thing we needed was just plants. And that's why I put it on the list, because I was like, all of us can learn from this. You don't need to pay Sue and I to tell you that you're missing plants. That is oftentimes something that's missing from the room. And you can get great pots. You can, if you're nervous about watering them, here at the store, we have plants throughout, and we have a service that comes by that the plants came from, Cactus and Tropicals, and they come and they water them once a week, and they test the soil and they make sure they're living. And if they die, then they replace them for free. So that's a service if your client, wants to do that, or they can learn like I did to just water my tree on Sunday,
Yep.
So yeah, and just get it in the right light. But it definitely adds so much to a room. Height and sculpture and color, and yeah, it's extraordinary.
Even when we're like pulling a room together, like usually like we'll have like our rug, and this is like we're looking at paper dolls, right? We're like designing, we have rug, we have our furniture, not until we get like lamps.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can throw like a tree or something, I'm like, what is living in there? I'm like, okay, it's starting to gel. Like,
Mhm.
isn't that interesting that even like in like the cocktail and the actual like recipe building of a room, you see that green and you're just like, okay, all is well.
Yeah.
It's a good combo. We're good.
There's life.
There's like,
Mhm.
I always say, just because like I've had family and friends that I'm like, yeah, you should get a tree, and they'll get a small tree. I would say go as large as you can afford to go. Get a planter and build that girl up, because like that, and you can always like replant it, whatever you do. But if you start out with just a tiny little thing, like you're going to be like, it didn't work. Shoot. Like, why isn't my room transformed?
I would say big planter too, because I
Yeah.
hate seeing these
Huge.
like trees with like these tiny little
Just
like
root rot, guys.
Yeah,
like
like-
no one's happy in that pot.
yeah. I would say maybe not the biggest planter you can get, but have the tree grow or the plant grow into the planter.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
And a lot of times, so for my birthday, probably like 2 or 3 years ago, my mom gave me a gift certificate to my favorite nursery. And I went and
Great gift.
right.
That's a great gift.
Yeah. And I went in and I bought a bird of paradise, and it was already planted, but they have this really great desk where they'll plant anything for you. And they have some things that are already planted that you can take. My bird of paradise was already planted in a gorgeous, huge white ceramic pot. And I walked and I saw it and I was like, oh, I'm blowing my whole gift card on my all $200 on this extraordinary plant, and then some, because the pot was so awesome.
Mhm.
And I brought it home. I was so excited. I think my husband pulled his back out trying to get it onto this huge side table that I have.
Mhm.
Guys, the bird of paradise is taller than my windows now. It's probably because it's sitting on top of a table.
Aw.
It's doing the most. It's so fun. I've loved watching it. It's in a corner of my room with 2 windows facing different directions. it's so happy there, and it like finished my room. It looks amazing. So
Plants do so much heavy lifting.
yeah,
And
they
you-
really
yeah.
do.
Mm.
You
Yeah.
look so exotic and you look like a designer. When you look at like all the Ralph Lauren rooms,
Yeah.
there's massive palms everywhere.
cheaper
and
than
you're just like,
furniture.
it's way cheaper than furniture.
Mhm.
And like people, it's the only thing that people see when they come in. They're
Yeah.
like, wow, your rubber tree's huge. I'm like, "Shh, I know it just is doing its thing. It's just
Yeah.
growing. I just watered it one
You get
week.
so much credit,
You
don't
do.
you? Yeah.
You totally do. And you're just like, there's other things, but the plant's the hero.
Yeah, guys, get
Yeah,
yourself a
get
plant in
yourself a plant.
2025 if you haven't
Soften your life.
already. Definitely.
Yes, soften the edges.
Yes. If you guys have any episode ideas that you want to make sure that we answer for you, send those to Dear Alice at alicelanehome.com. Thank you so much for listening. And I wanted to tell you about our Alice Lane Home website. We have a special discount code for you. We have the most extraordinary stuff that we're creating right now, probably like 700 SKUs of this on our website of
Yeah,
stuff that just we're
counting.
creating.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm so proud of what we're making. And I want to make sure you guys can live with some of it. We have so many new introductions right now, 50 new intros we've got to try and kick off in next month,
Yep.
which is so exciting. You can sign up to be one of our insiders if you want to shop that before anybody else. You should be insiders. You guys are listening
You're
to
our
us
friends.
talk. Yeah,
Yep.
for sure. Anyway, I
Good on
wanted to
them.
just tell you guys, anybody listening to the podcast, we have a special code for you so you can always save 20%. And that is Dear Alice 20. And you're going to get 20% off your purchase at alicelanehome.com. So anyway, if you want to follow us along at the store, our Instagram handle is Alice Lane Home, at Alice Lane Home. And if you want to follow the interior design account where we're working on all of these awesome houses, behind the scenes, the making of, the renderings of some of the work we're doing, that's at Alice Lane Interiors on Insta. Thanks so much for listening, guys. We're going to catch you next time. Hey, thanks for listening. If you like our show, please leave a 5-star rating.